Wrong car, ma'am?
No, this is exactly right.
My name is James. I'm 30 years old. I work in marketing, and I drive for Uber on Friday and Saturday nights to supplement my income and, honestly, to get out of my apartment. I'm the kind of guy who scrolls through his phone in silence during most social interactions, who has strong opinions about coffee brewing methods, and who genuinely believe that meeting someone special was a kind of thing that happened to other people. People with better stories. People with better lives. Not to me. Not until one rainy Friday night when a stranger got into my car and somehow saw something in me I didn't know was there. This is what happened when life decided to intervene. It was 11:47 p.m. on a Friday in October. The kind of night where the city feels alive but also lonely. All those people moving through the dark, connected and disconnected at the same time. I'd been driving for 3 hours already. The evening had been steady. A bachelorette party heading to a club, a couple who kept arguing about whose turn it was to pay, an older man who didn't talk at all but tipped well. I was parked outside the Meridian, this upscale hotel downtown, waiting for my next pickup. The rain had just started, that kind of persistent, cold rain that makes you want to be anywhere but outside. I was scrolling through my phone, reading reviews of this new espresso machine I was considering, when I saw a woman through the windshield running toward my car. She had dark hair. It was plastered to her face. She was wearing a white blazer that was definitely expensive and definitely ruined by the weather. And she was moving with a kind of urgency that suggested her evening had not gone the way she planned. She opened the passenger door without knocking, just slid into the seat next to me with this breathless energy. Water dripped from her hair onto my upholstery. "Thank God," she said. "Go, please. Just anywhere away from here." I turned to her, about to politely explain that she'd gotten into the wrong car, that there were probably other Ubers out front, that I needed to see her destination in the app first. But something stopped me. Maybe it was the way her hands were shaking. Maybe it was the fact that her mascara was running. Maybe it was the simple fact that in her panic, she hadn't noticed I was just sitting there, and she actually seemed to think I was already going somewhere. So I looked at her for a second and asked, "Where are you coming from?" She laughed. It was this broken, desperate sound. "A disaster," she said. "The worst kind of disaster. A date disaster." I should have told her right then. Should have been professional, apologetic, explained the mistake. But instead, I put the car in drive and pulled away from the hotel. "Bad date?" I asked, my voice steadier than I felt. "The worst?" she confirmed. She leaned back against the headrest, and that's when I realized she was actually shaking. He seemed so normal online. So nice. We've been talking for 2 weeks. And then he shows up tonight, and his entire personality is different. He kept ordering expensive wine, without asking me what I wanted. He kept talking about himself. And then, her voice cracked a little. Then I got up to use a bathroom, and I heard him on the phone talking to his friend about how boring I was. He said he was only staying out with me because his friend dared him to date someone below his usual type. I felt something shift in my chest. Anger, mostly, but also something else. Something protective. "That's awful," I said quietly. "It's pathetic," she corrected. "I'm pathetic for believing someone would actually be interested in me." "You're not pathetic," I said. "You're someone who gave someone a chance. That's brave." She turned to look at me then. Really look at me, like she was seeing me for the first time. And maybe she was. Maybe she was realizing that the driver she jumped into wasn't actually her scheduled Uber. "Wait," she said slowly. "What's your name?" This was it. The moment where I should explain everything. Where I should be honest about the mix-up, pull over, get her to order a new ride, send her on her way. Professional. Clean. No complications. "James," I said instead. "And where am I going exactly, James?" There was a hint of amusement in her voice now, even through the sadness. "Somewhere away from terrible dates," I said. "Like you asked." She stared at me for a long moment. Then she smiled. Genuinely smiled. "I think I got in the wrong car," she said. "Probably." I agreed. "And I should ask you to take me back to the hotel to get the right one." "You should," I said. "But I don't want to," she said quietly. "Is that crazy?" I kept my hands on the wheel, kept my eyes on the road. But I was smiling. Completely insane. I said, "My name's James, by the way, and I need to be honest with you about something." "Okay," she said, bracing herself. "I'm driving Uber. My next pickup was supposed to be at that hotel. So technically, you're in exactly the right car. It was meant for someone, and that someone is you." She laughed then. A real laugh, not the broken one from before. This one had light in it. "What's your name?" I asked. "Emma," she said, "and thank you for not taking me back." We drove for an hour. I told her I'd cancel my other pickups for the night. I told her it wasn't often that someone got into my car looking like they needed a break from the world, and I wasn't about to rush that. Emma told me her story. She was 28, worked in HR for a pharmaceutical company, and had been single for almost 2 years. Not by choice. She'd been in a relationship that had slowly drained her of her confidence, made her believe that she wasn't worth much. After the breakup, she'd spent a year healing, going to therapy, trying to rebuild her sense of self. And then she downloaded a dating app because her best friend insisted it was time to get back out there. "And look how that's going," she said, gesturing vaguely at a ruined blazer. "You met an asshole," I said. "That's not on you. That's on him for being an asshole." "But why do I always meet assholes?" she asked. It was a real question, not rhetorical. She was genuinely trying to understand. "Because you're looking in the wrong places," I said. "Because you're on an app where everyone curated their best self, and you're comparing everyone to some fantasy version of who they could be." "So what do you suggest?" she asked. I glanced at her. "Accidents." She laughed. "Accidents. You got in my car by accident. That was the best thing that happened to your evening, right?" "So far," she said softly. We drove past a river, under the bridge lights, past the closed storefronts and the late-night diners and the convenience stores where the night shift workers were buying coffee. The rain had stopped, and the city looked clean and new. "Tell me something about you," Emma said. "Something real, not the Uber driver version. The actual you." I thought about it, thought about how to answer honestly. "I'm scared," I said, "all the time. Not of big things. Just life. Whether I'm doing it right. Whether I'm wasting my time. Whether I'll ever find someone who gets me." I paused. "I'm also slightly obsessed with coffee, and I have very strong opinions about how beans should be sourced, and I know that's annoying." "It's not annoying," Emma said. "It's specific. It's a thing. Most people don't have things. Most people are just generic." "And you?" I asked. "What are your things?" "I save every card a note anyone's ever given me," she said. "Even the bad ones. Even the ones from the asshole ex. Because they are proof that someone thought of me enough to write something down. I also have a terrible habit of overthinking everything, and I cry at every commercial for insurance companies, and I'm probably too trusting for my own good." "You're not too trusting," I said. "You're just hopeful. That's different." She looked at me then, and there was something in her expression that felt important, like she was remembering something, or realizing something. "How far can we drive?" she asked. "As far as you want," I said. At 1:15 a.m., I pulled into a 24-hour diner I knew on the edge of the city. It was one of those places that hadn't changed since the 90s, red vinyl booths, a jukebox that still worked, and a waitress named Margaret who'd been working there since before I was born. Emma and I sat in a corner booth, and I ordered terrible coffee that I'd definitely critique later, and Emma ordered pie because, she said, it was the only acceptable food at 1 in the morning. "This is insane," she said, smiling at me across the table. "I don't know you. You're a stranger. You're driving me around the city in the middle of the night. Is it bad?" I asked. "No," she said. "It's the best thing that's happened to me in a really long time." She paused, which is either really sweet or really sad. "Can't it be both?" I asked. She reached across the table and took a fry from my plate. We hadn't touched them, but the action felt intimate anyway, like permission had been granted for something. "Why are you being so nice to me?" she asked. "Because you seem like someone who deserves to have nice things happen to them." "That's not really how life works," she said. No, I agreed, but tonight it does. Tonight I'm driving you around the city at 1 in the morning, and you're eating pie in a terrible diner, and something about this feels like exactly what both of us needed. Emma's eyes got watery then. Don't cry, I said, smiling. Or I will too. And then Margaret will think we're either very sad or very happy, and she'll probably give us free ice cream, and I won't be able to stop her. Emma laughed through the tears. Would that be so bad? Devastating, I said. I have standards. I drove Emma to the lake as the sun came up. We sat on the hood of my car, which was slightly illegal parking, but Margaret had mentioned her sister worked for parking enforcement, and they didn't really check that spot, and watched the city wake up. The sky went from black to purple to pink to gold. Emma leaned against me, and I put my arm around her, and it felt like the most natural thing in the world. I should go home, she said eventually. I look like I've been through a war. You look like someone who survived something and came out the other side, I said. There's a difference. Poetic, she said, for an Uber driver with strong opinions about espresso. Those things aren't mutually exclusive. She turned to look at me. Can I ask you something? Anything. Are you going to ask for my number? I felt my heart do something complicated. I want to, I said, but I want to do this right. I want to know you when it's not an accident. I want to call you when it's morning, and you're not still in adrenaline from a bad date. I want to take you on an actual date, a terrible first date where we're both nervous and we spill something on the table. I want to earn you, not have you fall into my car. Emma was quiet for a moment. That's the nicest thing anyone said to me, she said. I mean it. I know you do. She reached into her purse, pulled out a pen, and grabbed my hand. She wrote her number on my palm. But I also want you to have my number, in case you change your mind, in case you want to text me something stupid at 2 a.m., in case you want to tell me about your obsessive coffee sourcing. I want options. I looked at the number on my hand, traced it with my thumb. I won't change my mind, I said. Good, she said. Then call me on Monday. I called her on Monday, at 10 a.m., not romantic, but intentional. Hi, she said. Her voice had a smile in it. Hi. I was thinking about taking you on a date, like a real one, where I plan it in advance and you wear something you didn't have to run through rain in. That sounds nice, she said. Wednesday night. There's this place that does coffee tastings. I know it's specific and weird, but I'll be there, she said. What time? 7. I'll be there at 7. The first date was awkward and sweet. We did spill something, wine, on the white tablecloth, very on brand for us. She laughed about it instead of getting embarrassed. We talked about everything and nothing. We discovered we both loved old movies and terrible reality TV, and that we were both terrified of disappointing each other. By the third date, she was holding my hand without hesitation. By the sixth date, I was meeting her best friend, who apparently received a 4-hour call right after the Uber ride about how I was possibly the kindest person Emma had ever encountered. By the 10th date, we were saying things like future and eventually and when we. It's been 6 months now. Emma keeps that pen, the one she used to write her number on my hand, in a small jar on her nightstand. I finally got my espresso machine, and Emma's learned enough about coffee sourcing to argue with me about it, which might be the most romantic thing that's ever happened to me. We don't live together yet, but we're talking about it. We haven't said, I love you, not yet, but there's a slowness to this relationship that feels right. Like we're actually building something instead of collapsing into it. Sometimes, when we're driving around the city together, in a regular car now, one we own together for weekend trips, Emma will say things like, "Can you believe you almost took me back to the hotel?" And I'll say something like, "I wouldn't have. I'd have driven you around all night if that's what you needed." And she'll lean over and kiss me on the cheek, and I'll think about how strange it is that the best things in life come when you're not looking for them. When you're just driving around on a Friday night, alone, trying to figure out your life. And then someone gets in your car by accident, and nothing is ever the same again. The universe doesn't work on apps and algorithms. Sometimes it works on accidents. On the right person getting into the right car at exactly the right moment. On two people who needed each other showing up when neither of them expected it. That night changed everything. That rainy Friday night when Emma got in my car, when I almost sent her away, when I chose, instead, to keep driving. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more Heartfelt tales, and drop a comment letting us know where you're listening from. We'd love to hear your thoughts and connect with you. Thanks for being part of the Unscripted Hearts community.